All right, everybody, welcome to Heads Up Play, your ultimate podcast for all things sports down here in the South. We are into our SEC program as we are diving into our 2024 season preview. We are breaking down each team and how we think they are going to be ranked. In today's episode, we are turning our focus to the Arkansas Razorbacks. So, guys, strap in, get ready, let's call some hogs, and let's get into it.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Our second episode in our SEC preview. Counting down the team, counting down the weeks to the start of the college football season. We covered the Vanderbilt Commodores last week, and
Shocker. Shocker.
sorry.
I know you
Yeah.
guys are shocked by that. I mean, we had
So,
some.
in case that doesn't tell you, if you didn't watch that episode, we're doing worst to best. So we're down at the bottom of the pile right now. And it was between a few teams, and we ultimately decided that, unfortunately, Arkansas Razorback fans, you guys probably are not going to have a very good season. It's going to be a rough one.
It's people talk about Florida having the worst record in the SEC, which they do. Not taking that away from them. Arkansas probably has the second toughest schedule behind Florida.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. It is not going to be easy for the Razorbacks, especially with their roster. And we're going to be real with you right now. We know just as many people on the Arkansas roster as we did the Vandy roster. I mean,
This is a
there
team
is
that
nobody. KJ Jefferson entered the transfer portal. He goes to UCF, joins Gus Malzahn down there, and he was all the Arkansas team was last year.
I mean, of course, he led him in passing. He led him in passing attempts, but he also led them in rushing attempts and rushing yards. And how do I say this? That's probably why they weren't successful as they were supposed to be. Well, they're supposed to be, a 9-win team. No, but they are not supposed to be win one game in the SEC. Who was that one game? Was it Vandy? I don't even remember.
They beat Florida. I was at that game.
That's right. You were at that game. You were at that game. I remember that now.
Yeah, they beat
Went
Florida.
in
It was
overtime.
Florida's blackout game, and
Was it?
it
Was it
what
over?
now?
It went
It
in over.
went to overtime. It went to overtime. I want to say it might have gone to two
Was
overtimes, at
that
least
the
one.
game that Florida should have won to go to a bowl game?
Yes, it was. Yes, Florida
That's
was sitting at, I believe, 6-5 or no, 5-7 or something like that.
okay.
Um, so that was like their make it or break it because then they had Florida State, who they were not going to beat, and yeah. But looking at Arkansas's current depth chart right now, it is a whole lot of nobody. I mean, we can go through the defense and nobody's going to know anybody. But the number one name to know, because KJ Jefferson did enter the transfer portal and go to UCF, Talon Green should likely be the starting quarterback for Arkansas.
All
He's a
signs are
transfer
pointing,
from
yeah.
Boise State. He was a 3-star out of Texas, and he is a redshirt junior. Again, we can go into detail into how Sam Pittman used the transfer portal and whatnot, but let's just go ahead and get into the schedule because it's, like you said, it's a brutal one.
The one player that I'm actually shocked Arkansas got before we get this is running back from Oklahoma State. They got what do you no Utah, came from Utah. DeQuarian Jackson, transfer junior. He is supposed to be a stud. He already had more rushing yards, of course, than their starting running back last year. And they do get back their wide receiver who had 762 yards receiving. We'll see how they do. But as you're looking at the schedule right now, in my opinion, I'm looking at a 3-8 team,
Yeah, so
possibly a 4-7. And I want to hear what you think before I tell you my.
I've got them starting off. We can just go through it. Arkansas Pine Bluff, first game of the season. Um, Let me just say, Arkansas Pine Bluff and UAB, those are two of the most badass logos out there, right there, right there. And they got them together.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would say I love UABs. I mean, you growing up in Birmingham or near Birmingham, and then you growing up in Birmingham, UAB's always had the coolest logo. Not I mean, the blazer is insane.
yeah, so and look, if this was UAB from a few years ago, if this was a Bill Clark UAB, I
Possibly,
might be calling this an
possibly. I'm
upset.
gonna say I would almost say, but with it being a Trenton Dilford team, and no offense to Trenton Dilford, it just kind of went down here after Bill Clark left when you got Brian Vincent in there for the year. But I only have right now Arkansas Pine Bluff, UAB, and La Tech.
Yeah, losses for me to most teams on this list. I do have an upset win, if you even want to call it that. Well, you and I are also not big on Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State. This is a home game for Arkansas. I do think, or excuse me, a road game for Arkansas, but I do think that they get an upset win
Oh wow! So you have them
over.
at 4-7.
I've got them going 4-7. I have them getting an upset win over Mississippi State. That's why we've got it split there between the red and the green. And then so you have them not winning a single
I don't have
SEC
them
game.
winning a single game. I mean, truth be told, and I'm probably going to spoil the next episode. I definitely think that Mississippi State could possibly lose that game, but I think that could be Mississippi State's only SEC win.
Sure, sure,
I mean,
absolutely.
those two teams are bad, bad.
And
But
then, yeah, I mean, to go through the rest, look, Auburn's going to be better. There should be at least under Hugh Freeze. Texas A&M, I don't think that they're getting any better or worse under Mike Elko, so that should be a win for them. I think Tennessee, we'll see. I do like their quarterback play, Nico Iamaleava. I think that's going to be too much for Arkansas to handle.
I mean,
LSU has dominated Arkansas recently, even though KJ Jefferson almost had them last year. I don't know
I
if you
mean,
remember that game. That came down to the wire. It would have been a huge upset. And then Mississippi State, of course, Ole Miss is going to be great. Texas is going to be really good.
their front half of the season though is going to be tough. I mean, you got Oklahoma State, you got at Oklahoma State, you got at Auburn, at Texas A&M, and then Tennessee at home. I mean, that's a tough first 6 games of the year.
Yeah, well, let's get into it. So, I mean, what Sam Pittman might have the hottest seat in the SEC, in my opinion. I mean, like it is blazing hot. I was shocked he was not fired
Well,
last season.
he's desperate because I mean, look who he brought on as his offensive coordinator. We haven't even spoke about this yet. I mean, look who he brought on. He brought on Bobby Petrino, the legendary motorcyclist of Arkansas. I mean, this
Yeah,
is
and what's crazy is Bobby didn't even have like that elite of an offense, at A&M. Um, I don't know. I like the move, but to me it says we're gonna get rid of Sam Pittman and then give it to Bobby Petrino.
I mean, he has brand new coordinators for both offense and defense. He has Travis Williams. Travis Williams, if you remember, had played for the Auburn Tigers back in 2000s, and then he played like he was undrafted, signed by the Falcons. But he was the Auburn co-defensive coordinator in 2019 to 2020, and then he was UCF's defense coordinator for the last 2 years. Now he's Arkansas's new defensive coordinator. So we'll see how they bounce back. But like you said, bringing in Bobby Petrino, a former Arkansas head coach. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Letting him go because of what happened. I mean, it brought shame to the school, and they brought him back. I mean, is this an all-time low for Arkansas football? Like worse than Chad Morris?
Yeah. Yeah, look, they
I mean,
were
there
pretty
was.
low under Bielema, but nothing like this. Nothing like this.
I mean,
Um,
I thought Arkansas maybe saw the light a little bit a couple years ago when they beat Texas. They finally broke through. They beat Texas. And then no, but we found out Texas wasn't good that year, but I thought they broke through, and they have
well, look,
regressed so bad.
I think that there was some fan pressure to bring Bobby Petrino back. I think a lot of Arkansas fans, and if you're an Arkansas fan watching this, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I mean, look, Bobby Petrino is the guy. He is the most successful head coach at Arkansas within modern history.
Yeah,
Um, he was having them number 8 in the country with Ryan Mallett. He had a Heisman contender in Darren
he
McFadden. I mean, he was, or that might have been Houston Nutt that had
it was
McFadden.
Houston, it was Houston
Um,
because he had the 3. It was, Felix Jones, Darren McFadden, and, Madden cover, what's Hayden Hillis.
mhm. So yeah, I don't know. But I will say, what is your prediction? Will Sam Pittman be all right, a scale of 1 to 10, what is the likelihood Sam Pittman is not the head coach? at the end of 2024.
He will be fired. I can tell you the week. 1-1, 1-0, 1-1.
And get the schedule pulled back up.
Pull the schedule back up for me. I can tell you what week he's gonna get fired. He'll be 1-1, 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-3, 2-2, 2-3, 2-4. He'll be fired after he loses to Mississippi State. If he loses to Mississippi State, he'll be fired.
I can agree with that. If he loses to Mississippi State, he will most certainly be fired. Jeff
Or
Levy has low expectations for them.
or if he loses, I mean, and he will, it'll be after the Texas game. 2 games left in the season. Just get him through the season.
I agree. And at that point, they will have to give Bobby Petrino the interim head coach position.
I wouldn't be
And then
shocked.
they will be pressured to make him head coach.
See, I wouldn't be shocked though if they just fire Bobby too, because usually what they do is they fire like the offense coordinator, they fire someone they brought along with them.
Sure.
I would like to see like a Travis Williams throw him as the head coach. Like, why not? You know what I mean? Kind of like what Auburn did with Cadillac Williams, put him as the
Yeah.
head coach.
Let me tell you a name. If he has a successful first season where he's at,
I know exactly what you're gonna say. I know exactly.
do not be shocked if the Arkansas Razorbacks make a move for a one Kane Womack.
We have been
Do
saying it.
not
Me
be
and you have been
shocked.
saying it for forever.
Played at Arkansas, from that area. It seems like a hire they would go for. He has success at a low level. That's typically the kind of coach that Arkansas likes to go after. Do not be shocked if Kane Womack is the Arkansas head coach in 2025.
And
We will see about that.
I definitely think this next head coaching hire is going to have to be big. It's going to have to be a good home run hire for Arkansas not to get left behind with 2 new teams coming, possibly Florida State, possibly Clemson in the future. You don't know who's coming in the future. You don't want to be left behind. And right now, at the rate it's going, they're getting left behind.
Absolutely, 100%. Look, they're behind in just about everything. Not like Arkansas is known for having fantastic facilities, not like they have an insane football history. And look, credit to Arkansas. Hey, you're doing great in baseball. You're always good at track and field and all that. But
Hey, men's
look,
basketball, you was good at
and men's basketball. Look, they got Coach Calipari,
I
but
say
they might have emptied the bucket in basketball for him.
you are a basketball school now. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but I will say I will give Arkansas credit. You probably have one of the best chants in the SEC. So Biggie, hey,
Whoa, Coach Cal did not want to do that. Well, he was not
that
into
was
it.
weird.
Well, guys, I think that does it for this episode of our SEC recap. We kind of forgot to mention in our latest Heads Up Play episode that we were doing Arkansas. But hey, keep in mind, not this coming episode, but the next episode that'll come out later this week. It'll be episode 40.
Yeah,
Episode 40 of Heads Up Play. We will let you know who the next team is, even
man.
though you probably already know who it's going to be.
Spoiled it. Yeah,
But everybody, we appreciate it. Heads Up Play. We out.
yeah.